Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Today I'm going to give an update on my orchard progress. It's late 2025. It's been quite a while since I did any videos. So yeah, just share some things I learned this season. I think there were a lot of really good lessons to take away from this season. So the first thing that I want to talk about is watering. When I started the growing season, I had most of my orchard on a watering schedule where I was watering them every other day. But I had one little section that I was watering daily. And what I noticed was that section that was being watered daily actually ended up growing a lot better than the section that was being watered every other day. And so I think it was late July, early August, I ended up switching over to watering the entire orchard daily. And I think I saw a lot better growth once I did that. So that's one thing that I'm going to be just doing from the beginning next season. So the second lesson that I learned this season, of course we got lots of sun here. I learned the lesson about the water, but the next thing I learned was about fertilization. And I thought I was giving them some fertilizer. I put some control release fertilizer down, and I thought that was going to work good. But again, you just got to observe. You just got to observe what's happening, and if you see something happening, you got to respond to that. So you can see here, actually, I just fixed this chicken coop area up real nice. I was getting the I had like a 4-foot high fence here, and what was happening was the chickens were flying over on accident. They would fly out, and then the dogs would get them, and I lost a lot of chickens. My dogs, they like to get the chickens. And believe it or not, I think I've lost a total of about 50 chickens. 50 chickens here over the last couple years. So I'm down to 2 chickens. I got 2 chickens left, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to lose any more chickens. So I got some more chicks, and I said, hey, I'm gonna fix up this fence. So I increased the height. It's now an 8-foot fence. So these chickens are going to be real secure here in this area. But this chicken coop, it used to run right like this was the edge of it. And so look at this. This is crazy. Let me kind of get up here a little better. So you can see here, look at these trees. Look at these fig trees here. Look at these are the ones that were inside the chicken coop. And then everything else is the same. But look at these trees here. Look how much smaller these trees are. It's crazy. I mean, that's just crazy. And so what is the difference then? What is the difference between those trees that were in the chicken coop or in the chicken run area and the trees that were outside of it? Well, the only thing that was different, because I mean, they're right next to each other. It's not sunshine, right? It's not watering. They're on the same irrigation line. So the only difference was the fertilization, the nutrients they were getting. Of course, the area in the chicken run, they're getting a lot of nitrogen. It's high nitrogen because it's got that chicken manure, which is really rich in nitrogen. And so you saw just tremendous growth. Oh, here's another one here. This one was inside the chicken coop. So again, you can see how well this is growing. And this one's even kind of in the shade too. So, that nitrogen, that extra nitrogen has really made a big difference here. And so I came to the realization that, well, first of all, I want all my trees to be growing like those trees, right? And so I came to the realization that I'm not providing enough nutrients to these trees. This area in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas, it has a lot of decomposed granite soil, and it's good for many things. It's good draining, well draining soil. But one thing about it is it's not real nutrient rich soil. And so I think that's the other thing that I really want to improve on for next growing season is the ability to provide those nutrients, to provide those fertilizers to the trees. And so what I want to do, and I've got this all planned out, what I want to do is I'm going to add a fertigation capability to my irrigation pump. I thought about some different ideas, I'll just put down more control release fertilizer, right? But that's really it's something that requires manual labor. So it's not an automatic thing. Whereas if I can get the fertigation system set up, then it's something that just happens automatically because I'm already watering. I'm already got irrigation going to all my trees, and so all I need to do is get that that fertigation capability plugged into my irrigation system, and now every tree that's on that irrigation system is going to get the fertilizer as well. And so what I plan to do, I got my pump system down there. I'm going to add a mix tank and a metering pump and a flow sensor, and I'm going to add that to the pump station area over this winter, and then that way next season, every time I irrigate, I will also be providing fertilizer, and I'm really excited about that. Again, you know, the idea of getting all my trees that same growth that I saw in that chicken run area, having all my trees do that is pretty exciting. And so I think that, you know, that investment in that fertigation capability is really gonna pay for itself rather quickly, because I'll just be seeing a huge amount of growth as compared to what I would have seen without that. So that was the second thing I learned this season, and what I plan to carry forward in the next growing season. It's kind of a mess in here, so apologize for the mess. So the third thing I've learned here this season is that there are a lot of really interesting fruits and interesting plants that you can grow here in this area. And one thing that I've gotten excited about this year is dragon fruit. You can see my little dragon fruit collection here. So dragon fruit are, I'm zone pushing a little bit with the dragon fruit, because it's not the ideal plant for this climate. Ideally, it would be a little more temperate in that it wouldn't get quite so cold in the winter and it wouldn't get quite so hot in the summer. But I think you really can be successful growing dragon fruit here with a little bit of protection. Wow, look at this one. You know what's crazy about dragon fruit are fun, but these things grow so fast. I mean, this was not here just recently, and look at that growth on that thing. That's crazy. And it's actually a type of cactus. Anyway, so yeah, dragon fruit has been something that I'm exploring and really interested in. Also, olives. You can see all these olive trees here. Getting really excited about olives too. I have figured out a place where I can grow a bunch of olive trees here on the property. And this has come at the expense of my plans for kiwis. I was originally planning to do some kiwis, and I think I'm going to cut back on that plan. I've got the trellis that I built, the kiwi trellis already, but I had these plans to make a much larger kiwi growing area and grow you know, some different varieties of kiwis. And I'm still interested in kiwis, but I think that olives really are going to be a better choice. You can see a few olives here on this larger tree that I got from, I think I got this from Four Winds. Anyway, we're really excited about olives, and one of the great things about olives here in Northern California is that they are really well adapted to this climate. This is like the perfect climate for olives. You know, unlike the dragon fruit, where I might have to have a covering for them, you know, protect them in the winter or something like that. Olives is a tree that's gonna thrive with no special equipment or anything like that. And so my plan is to grow, similar to the other fruits, to grow a wide variety of different olive cultivars. And of course, I'd be able to offer those, you know, some trees or cuttings or whatever at some point in the future. So the olives are exciting. I talked about the dragon fruit. And the other thing that I'm working on, I got a little banana tree here. That's just something I'm doing for fun, though. I only have the one banana. Still working on the loquats, of course. The other thing I'm working on is citrus. So these tree pots here with all the lines going into them, those are irrigation lines. These are all citrus rootstock. So with the blue label, I got one type of citrus rootstock, and the green label is another type. And got a lot of them here. You might think, well, how could I possibly need this much rootstock? It's true, I don't need this much rootstock. But what I did is I had the seeds. I had the rootstock seeds. I got some certified clean rootstock seeds, and I had a whole ton of them. You know, it's like 2,000 seeds or something. And so I was like, well, I might as well grow extra. So I've got basically like 3 times as many rootstock as I need here. But what I'm going to do is once these rootstock get a little bigger, I'm gonna graft on some certified clean sign wood onto the rootstock, and then I'm gonna plant a nice citrus orchard. I think I'll have something, I forget what the final number was, something like 65 citrus trees, something like that. And so again, it's all gonna be different varieties. Those trees won't be be producing anything that I would sell. In other words, the sign wood or the the cuttings from those trees wouldn't be used to produce stuff that would be sold, because there's a lot of restrictions on citrus. Due to the citrus greening disease, a lot of restrictions on the spread of citrus. But I could potentially sell citrus at some point in the future. I would just have to get this greenhouse certified, which is actually pretty close already, but I'm a long way off from that. For now, it's just planting a citrus orchard, and I would just use that to try different varieties and get some experience with citrus, and just have some fun growing citrus. Yeah, so those were the three big things I learned this year. There was a lot of other things I've learned too, but probably not quite as big picture as that. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm back. Do a little tour here to accompany the earlier lessons learned portion of this video. So I've got grapes all along here. They're growing really well. Should be getting some grapes to eat next year. I got some figs over here. This is some of that area I was showing earlier, next to the chicken run. And there's the chicken run over there. These trees, this is the area that where the trees were being watered daily pretty much all summer. And you see really good growth in this area. These trees were just planted. These are planted kind of late in the season. I want to say maybe May or something. I put these in the ground, and so they've really seen a lot of growth here. Got some weeds I gotta cut down. Gotta do some trimming. You can see my sprinkler going again. This is I filmed that other portion of the video yesterday. Got the irrigation going. You can see the micro sprinklers there, spreading the water. So up here on this hillside, you can see those rows I dug out. I did that this summer. I'm gonna put my citrus trees over here. This is gonna be my little citrus orchard up there, and I kind of created some swales. We can go look at those here in a bit, but I basically created like some swales there to catch the water, to get better, so the water wouldn't just flow down. With the decomposed granite, that water just kind of, it doesn't stay with the plants very well. So I created those swales to kind of improve the water situation a little bit on that hillside. And I also created some over on this hillside as well. This is where the Yangmei are or going to be. There's some Yangmei right now, kind of down there, but eventually I'll have Yangmei going all the way up. This tree's been growing pretty well, actually. I believe this is Col de Dame. Maybe it's Grise. This tree is actually growing really well. It was struggling for quite a while, and then suddenly started growing really good. This is Col de Dame Blanc. Yeah, this one here, unfortunately, is just not. This has continued to struggle. Yeah, it's Col de Dame Noir. That's actually my second Col de Dame Noir. The other one's up by the chicken coop, which is growing really well. This one here is kind of struggling. Got some more trees down here. Again, these trees have just, it's amazing how much these trees have grown since I've started increasing the watering. And of course, they've gotten a little more established too, but they were just growing really slowly until I increased the watering, and they have just kind of exploded. And since then, And, you know, I will say, you know, one of the drawbacks about, I shouldn't just make a blanket statement about how, you know, more water is always better. It will improve the growth for sure. This is St. Martin. It'll improve the growth for sure. But if you give them too much water, it will cause some splitting in the figs. And so that's just one thing to understand. Although even with all this water, I'm not getting any splitting here on this tree. It's okay. It's not quite fully ripe. This is Abique Petite, or Petite Abique. Not quite ripe there. And this one here is Nerucciola de Elba, which I've actually, that one's not ripe there either, but I've actually had some pretty good Nerucciola de Elba figs off that tree this season. I generally didn't like that fig because it has kind of a bitter skin, but the figs get so ripe here so quickly. You know, they ripen on the tree quickly, and oh, look at the size of that. And so that bitterness, I haven't really been tasting it so much. Yeah, some good sized trees here. You know, I want to go back. I want to show you. There's a fig tree that I want to show. That, oh my gosh, it was just the hardest one to get growing. It's like the one that I've put more time into growing, more effort than any other tree, just because it was a kind of a special tree. And you know, people throw around the term rare. They throw that around a lot, but this one is actually rare. I only know of one other person that has it. I'm sure there's more, but you know, it's just what I know. I don't know everything, you know. So let me show this tree. There we go. Of course, there's some other ones, you know, some other varieties like this that have the variegation on the leaves, and it's got the variegation on the bark, the trunk, and then if I ever had any fruit, it would get variegation on the fruit as well. So this is variegated CDA, Constantine d'Algere, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that quite right, but this is a variegated version of that, and beautiful tree with the variegation. Just really pretty, really nice. But I had just a terrible time growing this tree. I had it wouldn't root. I grafted it onto a big capra fig that's way over there. Let me see if I can zoom in. That big tree over there. I grafted it onto there. 2 years later, I harvested the grafted wood, and I think I had enough for 3 cuttings. I rooted all 3. None of them took. and then I tried to salvage it by grafting on those pieces that didn't root onto some rootstock, and I was able to get 2 of them to grow, and then one of them was killed by what was it killed by? I think the dog actually did it in on accident. He was laying on it or something. So this is my last one. But it survived, and it's growing here, and I've got it in the shade of this oak tree. And then, funny enough, this branch broke, and it fell down here. Actually, I've got the remnants of it here, all this here, and it fell down, and it almost fell right on my tree. But it didn't. So my tree lives. This is the variegated CDA. Really excited about this. And if I can get this to really grow, you know, I'll be able to spread this around to some other folks so that more people have this. But really neat tree. Really like the beautiful tree. And CDA is a really good tasting fig as well, at least here in California. I'm not sure how it does in you know, I'm not sure if it's suitable for all climates, but here in California, it's very good. Oh, the dogs are barking over there. Barking at the neighbor dog. Okay. This tree's been growing pretty good here. This is LSU Tiger. It's been in the ground for, I had this in the ground last year. So this is its second year in the ground. Hopefully next season I'll be getting some fruit off of that. I didn't really get much in the way of fruit off of it. So, yeah, my trees are really starting to get established here. Most of them anyway. So I think next season, especially with the fertigation, I'll have some pretty nice sized trees. So next, I think we'll just go take a look at the pomegranates. They are up by the greenhouse here. I've got more fig trees all down in here. And actually, this is kind of the one last area that's not kind of spoken for. And I'm going to be putting some more figs in there. That was where I was going to put the kiwi. But I've decided to not do the kiwi, the big kiwi growing area. And I'm going to put the figs there instead. And that'll allow me to make room for the olive trees. Basically, there's some figs up there, and what I want to do is take those and put those down here so that I have room for olive trees up there. And I'll show those in a minute when we go up there. But I'll show you this area up here. This is where I'm putting the pomegranates. Had a big oak tree here, and it fell over, and so I just cut up the rest of it. It's okay. It's allows me to plant some more stuff, so that's all right. Yeah, so here on this hillside I have a bunch of pomegranates. They're kind of hard to see because they're still kind of small, but you can see here's one here. This is Linda, which is, I forget the story on Linda. I think it's named after I think Harvey named that one. I think it comes from Harvey originally. So, the pomegranates are starting to lose their leaves, starting to change color. It's getting colder out. So some of them are starting to lose their leaves. But this whole area here, this whole hillside is pomegranates. And they extend up there and then around the corner as well. So this is a nice pomegranate area. This hillside is really steep. And then I've been using this area here for potted figs. I actually found that this area works well for potted figs because it gives them a little bit of shade. They get some morning sun, but then they're not in the sun all day. And with the pots, especially the afternoon sun, the pots just get so hot. So I found that the potted figs seem to work pretty well here. And then I've got some back on this side too, which is the north side of the greenhouse. And so these don't get any sun at all, any direct sun. But they still produce good, they still produce some fruit. Those don't look good, but this tree in particular has produced some good fruit. This is a black Zadar. So I've got some more pomegranates back here. This tree here, this is Ondata, one of my very favorite figs. This is a really good fig tree. So we can walk over here next. This is, I call this little hill over there, I call that Loquat Hill, because that's where all my Loquats are planted. So let's go take a look at the Loquats. I'll show you the creek down here. I've actually split the creek up into two. So I got this little footbridge here, and a portion of the creek runs underneath it. But the main part of the creek is over here, and you see some good water flow. So this runs year round, and this is where I get my irrigation water. There's a series of old canals. They were originally built in the mining days, back in the 19th century, and they were built to bring water down from the mountains from mining. But nowadays they've been repurposed for irrigation, and so they run all through Placer County and Nevada County here in California. And that's what allows me to have this irrigation water here on my property. So down in this area, down by the creek, I've planted a bunch of fig trees down here. This is actually a wild fig tree. I didn't plant this one here, so I'll probably graft over that. Use that for rootstock for maybe some wild finds, wild stuff that I find or something. Got some more. This tree. Wow, this tree's looking really good. I haven't been down here in a while. Looks like all these figs have didn't get harvested though. That's what you call drying on the tree. You know, people who talk about figs drying on the tree. What is this? I don't even know what this is. Oh, here's a label. This is Calderona de Minor. This is Calderona de Minor. Yeah, really nice tree. And some other varieties down here. These are all pretty good. I remember planting these. These are all some pretty good varieties here. Where the dog keeps barking up there. But yeah, let's keep going. Let's look at the Loquats. All right. This tree has been here since I got the property. At some point, it's going to break. Probably when I'm on it. But it's a nice footbridge until it does. Okay, so here we go. We got some of the Loquats. They're starting to get bigger. And again, I think the adding the water has made a big difference. So some of these are just, like this one in particular, does not appear to be grafted. And so this is one that I'll graft onto maybe next spring. But many of these are grafted. Like this one is grafted. But the tag is here in this grass, so I can't tell what it is. I actually bought some new tags, bigger tags, and I'm gonna use those because those metal tags are good, but they're so small. And when your trees get bigger, it's hard to find the metal tags sometimes. Like here's one here. This is Jazzy. Jazzy is supposed to be pretty good. So there's the graft. I need to take that rubber grafting band off. But that's so anyway, I've got a bunch of grafted Loquats here on this hill. You can see them. They've grown a little bit, but you know, they were struggling most of the season because I wasn't watering them enough. And I didn't know that at first. But once I realized it, I increased the watering, as I mentioned, and I think it has made a difference. Oh my goodness, look at this. I hate these things. They get all in my hair. These little, like sticky seed things. God, I hate these. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, this is the Loquat Hill. I think I've got about 45 Loquats over here. And you can tell it's getting a little overgrown. I'm gonna need to come through here and cut back some of the stuff. Let me take these burrs off. Hold on a second. Okay, I got those burrs out. I hate those things. This is my biggest Loquat tree right here. And it's got a couple grafts on it. So that it's probably about 4 feet tall right now. So next year I would expect many of my trees to be that big. But they're still kind of looking more like that right now. Okay, so yeah, let's go over here. Okay, so across this fence here, hold on one second. Okay, so across this fence here, I got the Loquats over there. So across here, this is where I'm gonna be putting many of my olives. So I'm gonna be putting the olive trees kind of along the pond here will be my Spanish olives. And then I'm gonna have about 4 Greek olive varieties that I'm gonna put in this little area here on this higher ground because it dips down over here. It dips down into like kind of a marshy area, which is starting to get a little overgrown. So I'm gonna have to take the weed whacker to this area too, but But down in here, I can grow some figs, but pretty much nothing else, because nothing else is going to grow down in that. There's just too much water. But the figs they'll do okay down there. So moving across here, moving across the marsh. Let's get across the marsh. I need to finish this bridge I created. There we go, I made it. Okay. So there are, actually I did plant some fig trees over here already. Yeah, there's one right there. It's, I wouldn't say it's thriving, but it is alive. So there's several more figs in this mess somewhere. So just keep moving over here, and I'll show you this other hillside. So my olive trees are going to continue over this area, and I'd originally tried to grow some Yangmei right in this area here, and those Yangmei are going to come out, and this area here is going to be for olives. And so this whole kind of like area here around this shed, this is all going to be for olives, and I'm going to finish my Spanish varieties right through here. I think I have like maybe 7 Spanish varieties, 6 or 7. And then moving along over this way, I'm going to continue with the olives, and this will be where the French cultivars will be. So starting right there, extending up kind of on this hillside here and around this shed, that's where the French cultivars will be, like so. And so then this access road here divides the olives from the Yangmei, and so this area here is all going to be Yangmei, and then I'm going to have a few more olive trees up there on top. Those will be the Middle Eastern varieties. I'll have maybe 3 or 4 of those. So yeah, let's go down and look at the Yangmei. And you can tell I was mentioning that the swales earlier, and they're not perfect, but you can see how I've created those here. The Yangmei in particular need good drainage, and so this should help with that. Basically, I'll plant them along this berm here, and I've just got kind of like berms set up, almost like terraces all the way down, with the last one being a little more overgrown, because I did that bottom one first. Actually, I did that, when did I do that? That was late winter. And then the rest of this stuff, I think I'm gonna do a video on it eventually, but I did this in late winter, wasn't able to finish the rest of it, and had to wait to summer to do the rest. So that's why the rest of it is not grown in as well as this bottom one. So yeah, these are well, this is my quote Yangmei orchard, but these are actually Myrica californica, which is the rootstock I'm using for the Yangmei. And this was moving forward, I will not be using that rootstock. I'll be using Myrica cerifera, but this is what I'd used originally. And so there are some Yangmei that have survived. Here's one here. I got these sprinklers going, so I don't want to get all wet here, but so this is a male right here. You can see it right here. That's a male. It's grafted on. And then I think I got some more over here that have been able to grow successfully. Okay, here's one here. I don't know what's going on with that. Early ripe. It's not looking so good. Okay, here's one that's looking good. This is Wusu. So right here, this is a Yangmei right there. So it's been a real struggle to grow Yangmei. You know, once I get the better rootstock, that's gonna help. And so, oh, here's another one. Yeah, there's another one. So let's see what this is. Whoops. I think this is Wusu also. Yeah. Oh, no, this is, yeah, that's Wusu also. Yeah, so the, you know, getting the better rootstock is going to help. But, you know, it is just a challenge to grow that stuff. But I'm not giving up. I'll just keep working at it. So yeah, eventually my plan is all of these will be planted out with Yangmei. And, you know, I should have maybe 40 trees at some point. Working our way to the top here. The top of the hill. So again, this is where I'm going to put a few additional olive cultivars up here. I think this is the highest point on this side of the hill, right here. So yeah, I'll put a few Middle Eastern cultivars here. I think I've got, I'm trying to remember what I got. I think I have 2 Algerian varieties, and well, I don't have them yet, but I plan to acquire 2 Algerian olive varieties and 2 from the Levant area of the Mediterranean. How you guys doing? Okay, so we're crossing this fence here, and this area here is where I'm gonna have the citrus orchard. So up here on top, these are spaced a little farther out. This is gonna be like grapefruit, pomelo, yeah, those sort of I think also Tangelo or Tangelo. That's where these are gonna be. So these have, I'm using Citramello rootstock for those. And then I think there's only 2 rows of that. They're larger trees. And then following that, all these other rows are gonna be like sweet oranges, which would be like navel oranges, you know, various other types of oranges. And then, so I think there's maybe 4 rows of oranges. And then moving down on the bottom, maybe like 5 rows or something, is going to be mandarins. And there'll be a little bit of lemon and lime. I think those are going to be grafted onto the Citramello up there. But for the most part, it'll be the sweet oranges and the mandarins. And these are going to be grafted onto a trifoliate rootstock. So yeah, this will extend this whole hillside. So that should be, you know, I showed the rootstock in the greenhouse, so I'm working on those. And once those are ready to be planted, those are all going to go in the ground on this hillside. And so by the end of next season, I hope to have all of those citrus in the ground. I hope to have all of that out of the greenhouse. I still got a little bit of a burn pile left to do. That was from a tree that I cut down here. I've done just a ton of clearing of the land. I want to cut down this one remaining tree here to make room for the olives. I thought I was going to leave it in place when I was just going to put Yangmei in here, but now that I know I want to put olives in here, I'm going to cut that tree down so I can open it up a little bit more for the olives. And then, yeah, and then this is kind of a little marshy down here. Again, this is where I was going to put some kiwi on a trellis, but I think now I'll just use the dry land for some additional area for the figs. So I think there's one last area I want to show, which is up here, and that's where the rest of my olives are going to be. And I've also got my avocados up there. So let's go take a look at that. Okay, so walking back up the other hillside here. And since I've decided to do olives, I've been altering some of my previous plans, making some adjustments. So one of the things I'm gonna do, you know, I have a row of fig trees right along the road here, and this winter I'm gonna go ahead and pull these out. And fortunately, they're not too big yet. And these are all pretty good varieties too. Some of these trees are getting a little bigger, like that one's pretty big. But I'm gonna move all these down by that marshy area that I was showing. And then this whole line here against the driveway, I'm gonna plant the olive trees there. And it'll be a good spot for them because it stays a little warmer up here on the hillside, and they're in full sun. And
Also, the olive trees can grow a little, they can grow kind of tall. And so the shaded area would just be on the driveway there. So I think that's gonna be a great spot for those olive trees. And I was mentioning the Spanish and the Greek and the French olives and the Middle Eastern olives down there. So what I'm gonna have up on this hillside is gonna be the Italian varieties. And that's gonna be most of my collection of olives is gonna be Italian varieties. There'll be a stretch along here. It'll be about maybe 7 varieties. I'll have a couple here at the entrance, and then the rest are gonna be back over here, and I'll show that area in just a second. But what we have right here is an avocado tree, and beautiful. They've been growing really well this summer. I've not really had any problems growing avocados. That is a bacon avocado. This is a Hass, and this is like the ones you would buy in the store. That's the same variety. And then up here, I've got a few more. This is a gem with a lamb Hass grafted onto it. What is this? This is Gian Boyce grafted onto this one. I forget which one that is. Oh my gosh. This is Zutano. Forget which one that is, but that's Zutano. Zutano's very vigorous variety, as you can tell. I mean, I can't believe how much that's grown this season. Really amazing. This is, I think, Gem. You know, I'm getting confused on which ones are which. But you can see, I mean, look at this tree. Fantastic. I mean, this one's probably 5 feet tall, and look at this growth. I mean, tremendous. It's got more back behind here. Look, more growth there. I mean, these avocado trees have done fantastic. I'm so happy with how these have done here. So, you know, if you didn't know avocados can grow in Northern California, well, they haven't been through the winter yet, but I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm feeling good. And there's another avocado there. It just barely survived this tree fall here. All right, let me work my way through this. Granite rock here. And get up all the way up here. Okay, so this is an area I've just started clearing out. You can see I got my chainsaw here, a burn pile. I've been doing some burning the last couple days. So in this clearing here, I've cleared this out, and this is going to be another area for the olive trees here. This is going to be an Italian olive grove. I'll have probably another 6 or 7 trees in this area. I got a few more trees I'm going to cut down. I'm going to cut down these oaks here and thin these out a little bit. And so this will open this up nicely. And then I'll have the olives, some more olives in here. Yeah, and so then finally up here on the hill, I have some ideas about maybe putting some pig pens up here for my pigs. You know, I gotta get a couple pigs. Still want to do that. You can tell there's so much grass, especially in the winter. Grass is really going to grow. So my plan is I want to get some llamas deep down in the grass. They're supposed to be able to put llamas in with fruit trees, and they're supposed to eat the grass but not the trees. So that's kind of the thought with the llamas. This is a guava tree. Look at that, lots of guavas on this thing. Pretty cool. This is a Jabo. I forget how to pronounce it now. Jaboticaba. It apparently does grow here, but again, I haven't been through a winter yet. But it's putting on some good growth, starting to get a little bigger. And here's another tree a lot of people don't think you can grow in Northern California, and that's a mango. I've got I think 1, 2, 3, 6 mangoes here, and they've grown well through the summer. So we'll see how they do in the winter, but so far they've been growing well, and I think if I can get them established for a few years, I think they should be fine. So That's my little mango orchard. And then I'll just show you the rest of, since I'm showing you everything, I might as well just show you the rest. I got my little garden over here. I put these raised beds in this year. They've done well. You know, just planted some tomatoes and cucumbers and peppers and stuff. Starting to decline a little bit now, reaching the end of the season, but they've been good. Real happy with that. Okay, so yeah, here's the rest of my fruit orchard. I've got a lot of, I've got peaches, nectarines, pears, a bunch of like pluots and stuff like that in here. So that's what all of these trees are. And these trees have grown really well this year too. I'm real happy with these. This is my kiwi trellis here. You can see my kiwis they've put on some growth this year. This bunch here there's maybe like 3 varieties there. This bunch here has done the best. This one is growing a little bit. This one a little bit. That one a little bit. But eventually it'll cover this whole trellis, hopefully. So the kiwis. And I mentioned like I was still going to do a little bit of kiwi. That's what this is. This is the little bit of kiwi. And then finally this area here is my original citrus orchard. I have maybe like 12 different citrus varieties here. Just a mixture of different things. I put these in before I realized that I wanted to do citrus over on that far hill, which is where we just were over there. So I'm going to be putting a lot more citrus in than I originally thought. And so, if I had known that, maybe I would not have planted these citrus here. I don't know, but they're here and they're producing some fruit. I think this is what is this? A lot of fruit on this tree. This is a California honey. I think that's a mandarin. I think that's what that is. Maybe it's an orange. Yeah, so there you go. That's the whole tour. So that's that's the status of my orchard as we're nearing the end of the 2025 growing season. I think I've made a lot of progress. I've still got some improvements to make. I think the fertilization is, the fertigation capability, I think that's going to be huge. There's a lot of work to be done over the coming year to finish up all these things I'm talking about. Planting the citrus orchard, planting the olive trees, getting those additional animals, hopefully. But I'm getting a lot closer to kind of the end state that I want to be at. Oh, and I forgot to show this. This is a garlic bed. I just planted this. I was about a week ago, maybe. Yeah. So I'll get some garlic here in the spring, hopefully. Yeah. So there's a lot of things to be excited about. Lots of things that I still have to learn about. But I enjoy learning new things and I enjoy seeing the progress. And like I said, I think there has been a lot of progress. So looking forward to seeing what it looks like a year from now. So if hopefully enjoyed that tour and sort of the report at the end of this year. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments and I'll try to respond to those. But thanks for watching.